Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. It is Friday, September the 4th. It is Labor Day weekend. I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And it's a football Friday, man. We are ready to rock and roll. We are not touching on any trending topics. We ain't talking shit about the Big Ten. We ain't talking about nothing crazy. We are going to do some NFL previews today, getting ready for the NFL season, which will begin in less than a week. We finally got to this point, Chris. We are here, and we are ready to rock and roll. Before we get started with that, anybody that is watching live, you obviously know that you can get in on Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. And with that, you can join in the chat. You can jump in the chat box down in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Whatever platform that you are on, you can jump into the chat, and it will dive in and populate right there in on the video. So you can be a part of the show forever and ever and ever, as long as we have a channel. So go ahead and dive into the chat. You can help drive the narrative. You can help drive the story and the conversation for the day. Today, like I said, AFC East, NFC East, we will be discussing quite a bit. Go over to winningcureseverything.com. All of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms, etc. are over there. Look, this is the first week of college football. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing our live college football show, Closing Line Show, discussing all the moves and whatnot that has happened over the week, previewing some of the games that are coming up for the first weekend of college football. We had actual real-life football last night. Chris, did you watch the Golden Eagles and the Jaguars last night, or did you watch the Blazers and the Bears of Central Arkansas?
I watched UAB. I watched Bill Clark.
I don't blame you. That was anybody that saw that, good gracious. UAB should have beat the absolute brakes off of them, and instead, when you give the other team drives of 0, 4, and 15 yards for touchdowns, it can get a little squirrely. So turnovers cost you games all the time. Hey, I'll tell you this. I think we're going to see a whole lot of messy, disgusting kind of
Bad
football
football.
games. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that this year. So from both sides, professional and
from
college.
everybody.
So just be ready. Just be ready. We don't like betting favorites anyway, but that's the kind of thing that can cost you a big time, a big time spread there. So anyway, with that said, we'll dive off. Make sure you go over to the SBR YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed. We're going to dive into the live show again Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. Make sure that you are there. Get your popcorn. We're going to have a good time. That'll be every Saturday going forward. And then our opening line show will come out on Monday. We will be live on Tuesday afternoons at 5:30, and then starting next week, we'll be live at 5:30 on Thursday afternoons. So basically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We will be at sportsbookreview.com and sbrpicks.com/NCAAF doing our college football stuff over there. But all of our NFL stuff is going to be right here. We're doing our picks next week. We will figure out what day works best. It might be Wednesday. We'll just see. We'll see what happens. But we'll figure that out as we go. But the NFL season starts next week, and we are ready to dive in to the AFC East. And we are going to kick this thing off with the Buffalo Bills. That sound right to you, Chris?
Come on.
All right, 10-6 last year. Their win total for this season is set at 9. Now, we're going to use Heritage today. Win total is 9. To go over is -120. To go under is +100. So even odds. So they expect a winning season. They expect to go over the 9 as opposed to under. To win the division, +110. They are the favorites this year, and it has been a long, long time since we have had somebody other than the New England Patriots as a favorite in this division. Now, that doesn't mean anything right now. Obviously, this is just preseason. But Sean McDermott, entering his 4th season, has completely turned this franchise around, and it is impressive what he has done. Now, what he hasn't done is really, really improve that offense just yet. Let's go through some of the numbers right quick. Offensive yards per play, 5.2 last year. That was good for number 22 in the league. Defensive yards per play, however, and that's what they have built their entire foundation on, 4.9 is what they gave up last year. That's number 4 in the NFL. Turnover margin, Not too shabby. Not too shabby. They gained 0.2 turnovers per game. That was number 11 in the conference. The questions that I have really are, do we trust Josh Allen? And that's, I think, the biggest question of all. That is the one thing that can turn them from, they might make the playoffs into, they might be able to make the Super Bowl. Because we know that defense is good enough. They have finally got a big play threat. They bring in Diggs from Minnesota, and he, from all accounts, everything I've read out of training camp, he looks to be unbelievable. Josh Norman signed a one-year deal to kind of help shore up that secondary. That was really the only weak link that they had last year, and it really wasn't even a weak link. And Josh Norman, more so, he's just adding like a veteran leadership, right? Because
he's not cover cornering anymore.
He's not the same Josh Norman that we knew just a few years ago.
That's right.
But he is a veteran, and he is a leader, and I think he will be good for what they're doing. Bottom line, the defense is where it's at. I'll go on and tell you my prediction is 10-6, and that's only because I just don't know about Josh Allen, but I know that they are good enough to at least get to 10-6 again. Not a ridiculous schedule, but I think it's still a fairly difficult schedule. I think 10-6 is good, and I think it's good enough to win the division. But I'm not going to make that call just yet.
So yeah, I got him 10-6 as well. Listen, that offense added Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, good running game, good strong running game. I trust them.
Yes.
Good offensive line. I think Josh Allen will be much improved this year because of Stephon Diggs, but I think they're going to be a better football team this year than they were last year. But that doesn't equate to wins all the time, because the teams they beat, I think they would still beat. The team they would lose to, I think they would still lose to.
Yes.
It's going to come down to, can they play big in the playoffs? Because I absolutely have this team making the playoffs once again. So, I got them 10-6 as well. I think Josh Allen's going to be better. I think Stephon Diggs is going to help that. Stephon Diggs' catch radius on the deep ball is massive. You don't have to be gigantic person to have a good catch radius, all right? He tracks the ball in the air better than any receiver in the league right now.
Oh, and his adjustments to
that's
the ball
that's
are
what I'm saying. Tracking the football is important when you have a quarterback that can sling it but is not accurate, because he's not overthrowing you or underthrowing you. He's just off on the throw, and therefore you have to find the ball and go to it. And Stephon Diggs, the reason they paid a first-round pick for him and then are going to have to pay him financially again is because he is the best player in the NFL right now that does that.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
They
know they need that. They got to play to the strengths and the weaknesses of the team that they've got.
Yes, I agree. Now, with that said, let's move into the Miami Dolphins. And look, not great last year. 5-11. But that was actually exceeding expectations.
Very much so.
So not too shabby. Their win total this year is 6. And to go over, it is juiced at -135. To go under is +115. So they expect some more good things from Brian Flores and this team. Brian Flores entering his second season. And look, they sold the farm last year. I mean, they just got rid of everybody that was any good other than Devontae Parker. To win the division, they are +825. So we're not quite to that point just yet. And it may still be a few years before they get to that. Going through some of the numbers, offensive yards per play, 4.9. That was number 29 in the league. Defensive yards per play, 6.0. That was number 30 in the league. Turnover margin, they gave up the ball 0.6 times per game. That was number 27. And you look at these numbers, and you're like, how in the world did they win 5 games last year? I mean, it was unbelievable. Now, early in the season, they were dreadful, and they got better. They absolutely got better.
This is why you have to throw some of those stats out the window. Some of the stats don't matter, because the team at the end of the season wasn't close to that team that was playing so badly at the beginning.
Agreed.
And that's where so many of those stats, you just get so far behind, you can't ever catch up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. The question here is, does Fitzpatrick start all year, or does Tua end up getting a chance to build chemistry with Devontae Parker and the rest of those wide receivers? They brought in running backs Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. They made Cowboys cornerback Byron Jones the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. gave him a 5-year, $82 million deal, which is absurd. And then they brought in linebacker Kyle Van Noy. And, from the Pats, and I'm gonna give you a stat that you may not have known. Kyle is 29 years old. And you and I think of that as a young man, right?
Okay.
He is the second.
Not in football.
He is the second oldest player on this team. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 37.
30 years old in the NFL is pretty damn old, considering
Agreed.
the average lifespan of a football player is only 3.5 years, and these
Agreed.
guys come into the league at 24. That would mean everybody is, for the most part, done by 27. To reach 30 is massive.
Agreed. But there's a veteran leadership on the majority of teams, right? I would say. You've got some guys that are 31, 32, 33, whatever. Guys play into their mid-30s fairly regularly, especially quarterbacks and whatever else, and really the quarterbacks of your defense and whatever else. So you do have some older guys. The fact that this guy is 29 years old and will be this season, and he is the second oldest guy on the team, they got a young roster, man. They brought in a bunch of rookies this offseason. They've got a bunch of young dudes. It's still going to take some time. I think they are getting closer. I like what they did last year. They obviously improved. They advanced. They progressed, whatever kind of cliche word you want to use. I think they are a decently good football team. They just don't have all of the pieces put together just yet. I've got them at 7-9. I think I was insanely generous. To see them obviously the win total is 6 for a reason, but with it being juiced at -135 on the over, obviously they think it's more likely that they win 7 as opposed to 5. I've got them at 7-9, and the schedule helps a little bit. Obviously, they got a last place schedule. I kind of like this team. I think it's going to take some time to build them in, but man, give me your thoughts here.
I've got them at 6-10. I got them right on the number, and I think that's pretty close to right. I think they'll be a game better than last year. Brian Flores is a real coach. He's going to be the first coach, in my opinion, to come out of the Nick Saban, the Bill Belichick coaching tree that's actually good. That's actually belongs in the NFL as a head coach. I was very worried that I thought that he got his job a little earlier and he took a job too soon. I was very worried that he went to Miami in a place that had just been bad for a long time and wasn't really well ran. They seem to have fixed a lot of those issues, and I like the way they're building this team. They're going young, and I'm okay with that. You got to hit on the quarterback at some point in time. Fitzpatrick's got to stop playing, or Fitzgerald, has got to stop playing, and then Tua's got to be able to show something. I know that his first couple of weeks in camp, there were reports that this is awful, but he's just now learning to run and take hits and move around again after major hip surgery. And so there's got to be some growing pain from that. He seems to have improved a lot from that, getting just more comfortable with the team. I don't even think it's the team, though. I think it's just getting more comfortable playing football. If there's any hesitation in him at all because of the injury that he took, he's never going to come back from it. He's just not. And we won't know that in practice ever because he's never going to practice without a red shirt on. I personally would not start him at all this year. If they start off 0-7, 0-8, I still wouldn't do it. I know that there are going to be people clamoring for it. I know that there's going to be an ownership that's probably clamoring for it. But I would stay the course and say, let's give him an entire year to learn the NFL, practice against real NFL defenses that we're practicing in camp and on our own team every week. Hold the clipboard. It's not a knowledge thing. It's not a learning the throws thing. He just has to be comfortable because if he goes out there on Sundays and he's not ready, it's not the hip that's going to get hurt. But guys that play timid get hurt constantly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's the next injury. It's the ACL getting blown out, or it's falling on the shoulder wrong. There's a million things that can happen to your body when you are afraid. And I think that's the worst thing that could happen to him. So
I agree.
Now their success in the future is 100% tied to him. So at some point in time next year, they got to put up, shut up. They got to know, is he the guy or not? Because you can't waste 3-4 years on him. His whole rookie deal is done, and you still don't know. So I definitely think by next year, there's no other plan B. You don't bring anybody else in. You just bring nothing but capable backups, and they have to understand their role. You don't need anybody pushing him. Because if next year doesn't work, you basically have, quote unquote, from a front office level, tanked for 3 years. And in the NFL, you've basically tanked players' entire career.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You can't do that.
Matt Miller on YouTube said, doing the 2 worst divisions of football today, I see. And then Matt Miller said, Tua will never have as good of a receiving core in the NFL as he did at Alabama. That will take time to get used to as well. Yeah.
Or running game. Hey, I want to bring back something about you talked about the big-time cornerback that got paid in Miami.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about him for Buffalo. Trey White is just licking his chops every time. He is, without question, the best cover corner in all of football. And cornerbacks this offseason have gotten paid.
Oh, yes.
And I think he is just counting it. But if I'm Buffalo, brother, you better be freeing up some cheese, because this guy's going to demand it. And he has every right to, because he is worlds better than these other guys getting paid.
I think you are better than them. I think you're 100% right. The fact that Byron Jones has an $82 million contract.
Trey's going to walk in and say, double it.
And he'd be worth it.
I'm gonna need it doubled right now.
He would absolutely be worth it.
I think he's worth it.
Ben jumps in on Twitch. He said he could become a Sam Bradford if the Dolphins aren't careful. He talked about Tua.
Yeah.
Then Matt said Miami might have the best cornerback duo, though, with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. Maybe.
Ooh, I don't know. I think the boys
I like Buffalo.
New England going to have something to say about that. Yeah. Buffalo's going to have something. This division's going to have something to say about the cornerbacks. The 2 good teams are going to have something to say about the secondary being better than everybody else.
Yeah, you got that right. You got that right. All right, with that said, why don't we go ahead and hop into your boys? Let's discuss. Let's go up to the Northeast here, and let's talk about the New England Patriots. 12-4 last year. And my God, if you would listen to people talking about it, you would have thought they went 6-10.
Holy crap! I know the ceiling fell in.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh my God, they only won 12 games out of 16.
Winning 12 games is a bad season. That's
their win total right now is set at 9, and it is plus 105 to go over and minus 125 to go under. To win the division, they are plus 140. Coach Bill Belichick enters his 21st season as the head coach. I mean, there are kids that are graduating college that have been they were born the year that Belichick started in New England. That's before, like, all the just ridiculous, right? So this year is going to be the Cam Newton show. I don't know why people were very surprised that he was announced the starter. I think as soon as he was signed, everybody kind of figured that so long as he was healthy, he was going to be their best option. But the question is, can he stay healthy? My other question is, man, they got like 87 running backs on this roster. And
we've said this every year, and it frustrates the hell out of me. They draft some offensive lineman at a position and then try to make him play a position he doesn't play all the time, and it drives me insane. But the offensive line's always pretty good, and then they always just keep drafting more running backs, and they don't get any wide receivers ever.
Well, I mean, so they've got White. They've got James White. I'm talking about the running backs. They've got Damian Harris, who everybody talked really nice about in the preseason, in camp and whatnot. They've got Sony Michel, who took a lot of carries last year. They've got Rex Burkhead. And now they went and signed Lamar Miller.
But they got him for nothing. They signed Lamar Miller because he's cheap.
But I mean, just because he's cheap, that's like my wife telling me that a sale means she saved money.
I know. I hang on. I agree with you. By the way, here's the insane that they tried to go get Leonard Fournette. They were like, "Hey, Leonard's available. Let's go get another one of these bastards." I don't understand it. Listen, I'm never going to question Bill, but I don't always understand Bill. I don't know that when you have a 53-man roster, that is a very hard roster to fill, okay? You cut down things so difficult. He has like 6 running backs all the time. Everybody else is carrying maybe 4, And then they just have a couple of receivers that can take the rock if they had to. And usually he has a lot of guys that are like very versatile. Okay, like James White, we basically move out into the slot. Like we run 2 slot receivers constantly. It's just bounce James White out into the slot and nobody behind backup. None of these other guys can do any of that. I don't get it. Is pretty good at catching the football. Nobody else in this backfield has shown that they are good at catching the football.
Yeah, it's insane.
Sony Michel in the Super Bowl against the Rams, over-under for catches in a game was 1.5. I took the over thinking he's going to get at least 2 because they can't just run it every time he's in and throw it every time James is in, or else the defense knows what they're doing. No, he had 1 ball thrown to him. He dropped it. Tom didn't throw it to him the rest of the game. I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it. Jumping into the chat here, Matt Miller said the Pats are no better than 8-8. Chris, don't be drinking that Boston Kool-Aid.
You are so insane.
And then, he said he put an asterisk and then put 9-7.
No,
Carlos Gomez said, and no Mohamed Sanu either.
Mohamed Sanu was trash last year. Yeah. Mohamed Sanu was just trash all last year.
He most certainly was. Bill Belichick.
Philip Dorsett was the best wide receiver on that team last year. Yeah. From the time the season started to the time the year ended. Julian missed too much time and took some time to get ready, whatever. Sanu was just garbage. N'Keal Harry wasn't close to ready, and Tom just doesn't like rookies. Philip Dorsett, and he's not on the team anymore.
Yep, correct. Matt Miller said, Bill Belichick treats running backs like some people treat Hondas. Just get 3 or 4 Accords with 200,000 miles and run them till they die.
Damn straight. Hang on. It might be the best scenario ever of him. The fact that he used a first-round pick on Sony was insane to me because you just don't pay a lot for Hondas. Like, why go get a new one? Just buy 6 used ones, keep them across the garage, the driveway, and you'll never have a car, be without a car.
Yeah, because they'll run forever.
They'll just go forever.
Yeah, they'll just keep going.
So
hey, defensive issue, by the way. Yeah, defense. The biggest issue last year really was the secondary, not a massive issue.
No,
but they signed Adrian Phillips, and they signed Cody Davis. Now, the biggest problem they got right now is all the opt-outs, right? Like, that's kind of a problem. And then they lose Kyle Van Noy, and that's,
So I'm going to address the opt-outs. I've listened to enough New England beat writer talk lately. Now, I will tell you this. So for all the fans out there that hate the Patriots and all this stuff, that's fine. Y'all can all suck it, but that's fine. I understand it, by the way. I do understand it. It doesn't help you, but I understand it. Here's the deal. The beat writers in Boston 100% do not suck up to the team the way other states do, the way other teams do. No. They go in there and they are looking for problems constantly. It's just the Boston way of doing things. They're always negative. And I'm going to tell you, these guys say Bill is not worried about the opt-outs, and they think Bill because if you look at all the opt-outs, they're all the older veteran guys.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill thinks these younger guys are better, and he'd rather not have to pay those veterans.
Damian jumps in on YouTube. He said, Cam Newton isn't a starting quarterback, in my opinion. He's not even a good quarterback. All he can do good is be a Victoria's Secret model.
Damian, if Cam Newton had gone to the Bears, you would be jumping out of your skin right now, okay? We would be building a shrine to Ryan Pace right now if he had gone and gotten Cam Newton for $1 million.
Yep, you are correct.
So I do not want to hear somebody whose quarterbacks are the combined of Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky talking yang about my boy Cam, all right? We're going to stop that right now. Listen, Cam is a dark horse MVP candidate this year. If you don't have a little bit of money sprinkled on Cam, you're just a fool, because if you think it cannot happen because of your hate for the Patriots or your dislike for Cam, you're an idiot. Now, it might not happen. But if he's healthy for 16 games and the wizard of Josh McDaniels gets to pull the strings and call plays he has never gotten to call before, ever, then I'm telling you, there's going to be a really good shot that people would rather give it to Cam than give it to Drew Brees or a Deshaun Watson or a Mahomes back-to-back or a Lamar back-to-back. They would rather, because we love a comeback story. We love a redemption story. It just sucks that it happens for the Patriots because all of you throwing dirt on them, this team is going to win 12 football games, 11 football games again. They're going to be double digits again.
I'm okay with the double digits.
You can do about it.
I've got them 10-6. Matt said Cam won't be the reason though. Matt Miller said I think they'll go 9-7 because of the defense and lack of weapons. Cam isn't Tom Brady. Damian jumped in and said hell no. You say that, but you say you'd
that.
Be excited.
You say that. If he was wearing that navy blue and orange, you would be saying hell yeah.
I mean, New England, look, they get Miami at home to start, but then obviously your road games at Seattle, at Kansas City, at Buffalo, at the Jets, at Houston, at the Chargers, at the Rams, at Miami, and you have Baltimore at home. You've got Arizona, you got the 49ers at home, you got the Raiders, you got the Broncos. I mean, they got some difficult games.
I got them 11-5.
I got them
11-5. And I think this team's going to be way better. The weapons didn't get better, but Cam doesn't throw to receivers the way Tom does. Cam uses his legs nonstop. All right?
Yeah. I think, look, I look at it this way. I'm not worried about Cam. I'm not worried. You could give me a team of no names, and if Bill Belichick is coaching that team, until I see him lose, like they are going to have a winning record, period.
Yeah. Remember,
until I see him lose.
He took Matt Castle, who was literally just the dead-ass body of Matt Castle, and won 10 games in the NFL.
No, I think they were 11 wins that year.
Well, yeah, they probably
11. They were 11-5.
They got to double digits. But yes, I'm telling you, this team is gonna. And if throw dirt on them, go bet the Bills. Oh my God, you know what Bill Belichick is doing right now. Everybody thinks that pretty boy is gone and we can't play football anymore, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody thinks we can. Those boys from Buffalo, the first time they play Buffalo, Buffalo's a really good football team. I think they'll split with Buffalo. The first game against Buffalo, don't care if it's in New England, don't care if it's in Buffalo, they are going to beat the hell out of Buffalo. Game one against Buffalo this year, they're beating the hell out of Buffalo.
It is at Buffalo. It's the week after they play the 49ers, and it's in week 8. It's
going to get ugly.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly. I'm just telling you now. Remember, you heard it here first.
Damian jumped in and said, I would rather have a real quarterback like Bridgewater or Kaepernick than a diva. Okay. You would rather have a guy that we're not going to get into that. Matt Miller said the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. They would take what's left of Peyton Manning right now. They would definitely take Cam. Yeah, I think so.
They would definitely take Cam.
I think so.
And if they took Cam, I would make them the favorites to win that division immediately. I
think so, because they got weapons.
I think that would be a 12-win team. I think that defense would be better. I think Allen Robinson would be spooging in his pants right now if he saw Cam Newton walk through that door.
A vengeful Cam Newton is dangerous.
With just two big hefty bags of chips on his shoulders.
Oh yes. All right, let's close out the AFC East.
We should have did this in reverse order. We should have just did the Jets first. You can't end the show on the Jets.
Well, we're not ending the show.
Well,
we still got the NFC East.
We can't end the show with the Jets.
And I'm just doing this in alphabetical order, man.
I know. I understand, but this is pathetic.
All right, this won't take long, but we're going to give them the same amount of attention that we gave everybody else. The Jets went 7-9 last year. Their win total this year is 7. And I want you to see the difference here because they think it's going to land right on 7. To go over is plus 175. Again, these odds are from Heritage. You can go over to sportsbookreview.com, click on odds, and you'll be able to see all this stuff, all the future stuff. Over is plus 175, and under 7 wins is minus 205. So they feel pretty strongly it will be 7 or lower. I will say that, but they ain't getting over 7. Is what they're saying.
It's going to be 7 or lower. It's going to be lower. Let's just say that.
I would think so. To win the division, they are plus 900.
Yeah.
Sure. Damian jumps in again. Cam is nobody who can't stay healthy and is scared to break a nail. We'll see, brother.
He's not afraid of getting hurt. He's gotten hurt 2 years in a row.
Yes. Carlos Gomez said, with C.J. Mosley opting out, who is even playing defense out there? Well, I don't know about the Jets. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But here's what we got. They brought in underrated receivers to me, Brashard Perryman and Chris Hogan. They drafted Denzel Mims, so I think they got some weapons for Sam Darnold. They lost Jamal Adams, but McDougal could be okay. I think they feel pretty good about him. The defense, I think, is going to be fine under Greg Williams, regardless of who is opting out and who's not. I think they're going to be okay. Le'Veon Bell, I mean, do we have issues? Do we have
100%?
Like,
there's a really good chance Le'Veon Bell's cut by week 8.
I think you might be right about that. Everybody seems to be, all these fantasy whatever gurus think that he is going to pop out this year. He might have a chance to come back and be explosive. I think it's insane.
They're insane.
So I don't think it is likely that he returns to elite status. I think he is pretty much done in the NFL. He went and got paid, and he ain't getting along with anybody.
Somebody else will give him a chance for cheap. He'll have to play for cheap.
It'll have to be cheap, though.
But somebody else will give him a chance when he gets cut. 100%. He could end up in New England, but he's just gonna have to play for cheap for somebody else. But for some reason, Adam Gase don't like him, and we know that when the head coach doesn't like you and the head coach calls plays, you're not going to play.
Yeah, you're right. Darnold and the defense. Darnold and that offense cut out the turnovers in the last half of last year. They went 6-2 when they finally started cutting out the turnovers. The schedule is a little tougher this year. Look, Adam Gase in his second season, we had Matt jump in and said the Jets are 5-11. Either Gase gets fired or Le'Veon Bell kills him. I think Le'Veon will not be there at the end of the year. I think Gase will because, as Chris has said on the show multiple times, the new GM is his best buddy. Like, yeah,
he's kind of got the name of the GM hire, which is just insane to me.
It's
I don't think that guy's
insane.
Firing him.
No, I don't think so. Not right now. Going through the numbers, by the way, offensive yards per play last year, 4.6. That was dead last.
Yep.
Last year in the NFL.
That's not good.
Defensive yards per play, however, 5.0 is what they gave up, and that's number 5 in the NFL.
That's pretty good. The problem is a lot of those defensive guys are gone.
Yes. Jamal Adams.
Therein lies the issue with that.
Now, I think they're still going to be okay because I trust Greg Williams on that side of the ball, but I don't know that the offense gets a lot better. Turnover margin was number 23, and that's for the entire year. If you look at the beginning, they were like dead last in the first 8 games, and then they were pretty good in the last 8 games, but they were so far behind the 8 ball. They gave up 0.2 per game. That was number 23. Look, I don't think that the Jets are I don't think they're the worst team in the world. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't trust Gase. I don't like the roster. I don't like any of this stuff, but I don't think that they are just putrid. I've got them going 6-10. I've got them last in the division, but I don't think that they are the worst team in the NFL. I'll say that.
This is a 3-13 football team. They are trash as hell.
Monster X Gaming 652 jumped in on Twitch. He said, just fire Adam Gase. The only noticeable thing that's happened under his coaching was when Bill Belichick trolled him by wasting time. Damian said, Jets gas all the coke. Gase all the wait. I don't know what to say. He said he definitely isn't leaving. They gave him all the coke he needs.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's leaving either, which is why I've told people don't bet on him for first coach fired. Just don't do it.
No, he's not.
He's going to deserve it, but he's not going to get it. He's going to get a third year.
Yes, I agree.
That guy's
100%.
getting a third year.
3-13, I think, is maybe a little out there.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I've got him at 6. I mean, that's still under the 7, but this ain't one I'm betting. I mean, good gracious, minus 205. That's too much.
Yeah, the what was the juice if you go the under?
The under minus 205.
You see, that's insane.
I feel good about going under.
Go under, but I just don't want to waste money for an entire year.
No, not for a minus 205. I mean, where you spend $10 on it, you're only getting paid back a little over $5. Like,
yeah, I'll just buy a bunch of silver.
Yeah, there you go.
Over that time, it'll be a lot more than just getting my money back.
You got that right. All right, so let's do this. The NFC East, and we're going to start off with the favorites in the division. That would be the Dallas Cowboys. They went 8-8 last year. Win total right now is set at 10, and the over and under are juiced the same. It is minus 110 on both sides. To win the division, minus 120. So they are a sizable favorite here. Coach Mike McCarthy jumping in for his first season. The offense was already ridiculous last year. And then they bring in CeeDee Lamb in the draft. I mean, they were gifted, just gifted him. I mean, good gracious. Let's dive through some of the numbers here. Offensive yards per play, 6.5. They were number 1 in the NFL last year in yards per play. Just unbelievable. Defensive yards per play gave up 5.2. That was number 9 in the NFL, and this is where they ran into problems. Turnover margin. Gave up 0.1 turnovers per game. That was number 18 in the league. That was a problem. And they just had issues. I mean, look, Jason Garrett just not great, right? Defense brought in a lot of defensive line help. Dontari Poe, Everson Griffin, and then they lost I didn't write his name down because I knew I was going to remember it, and now I forgot it. What's the guy that got hurt? Gerald McCoy. Right?
Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, he gets hurt. He's out. They waived him, whatever. But they brought in a bunch of older kind of veteran guys just to make sure that the defensive line is kind of shored up. I don't think they're going to be great on defensive line, but I think they'll be okay.
I don't think they shored it up at all. They
just cut Clinton Dix at safety that they brought in and signed and paid, gave a guarantee of $2.25 million. He was owed like 3 point whatever million. He's going to cost like $1.5 million against the cap, I think, something like that.
To play 0 games.
So they cut him, but did they cut him so that they can go get Earl Thomas? Or did they I'm curious what they're trying to do here, because you don't cut the guy a week before the season starts unless you got some kind of a plan, right? My question here, can Mike McCarthy improve on what Jason Garrett did? And I think that's not even a question. I think Mike McCarthy is an absolute adult in the room, as you like to say, as opposed to Jason Garrett, who was just
a cheerleader.
Yeah, that's all he was. He was a cheerleader.
He was just a cheerleader, and in the NFL, you cannot be just a cheerleader. You have to be able to solve problems when your coordinators cannot.
I have got them going 11-5 this season. I like the schedule. I like the team. I think Dak in a contract kind of year, a franchise tag kind of year, I think they are going to play really well. They got weapons everywhere, man. I mean, their offense, I think, is going to maybe improve on what they did last year. I mean, 6.5 yards of play is unbelievable. So. Like, just ridiculous. So I think they're going to be just fine. I really like this team, especially in this division, because there ain't nothing in this division, man.
All right. So liking them in this division is totally different than liking them in their league, okay?
Agreed, but I think the schedule sets up well.
Hang on. This is a Big 12 football team. This is what this is. And Oklahoma and Texas can beat up on the weaklings of the Big 12 a lot. But when they go to the SEC, when they go to the Big 10, when they go to the ACC, they get their ass handed to them. I think that's going to happen a lot. I got this team. Realistically, I had them 10-6. But then I saw the number was 10, and I was like, no, I'm going to give them 9-7. This team is a 9-7 football team. That's it. But it's not Mike McCarthy's fault. They have not spent any time or money really planning for the defense. All these guys on the defense are old, hadn't played in several years, all have problems, and you just can't build it. Bill Belichick just took all his old guys and said, you all have COVID, go home. All right? Let me tell you the difference between how one team is being ran and how the other team is being ran, okay? They're going out and getting those old-ass guys, and they're going to try to say, hey, we're going to be in track races. We're going to score fast. We're going to score often, but that means you're on the field a lot. Well, yeah, great. Let's put a bunch of geriatric dudes out there that haven't taken snaps in a couple of years. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring up Aldon Smith or any of that. I mean, yeah, you're right.
I don't think that's what you want. I think this football team is going to be crazy fun to watch, just like Big 12 football is crazy fun to watch.
Bet a lot of overs.
Yes, I think they're going to score a lot. I really do. But I think other teams are going to score on them too. But the difference is the NFL is just better at stopping you. And it's not one of those things where I have to hold you under 50. But if I know I can score 53, I just need to make one stop.
Yeah.
I just need to make one stop. And I win the game. I'm not saying teams are going to blow them out, because when you can score the way I think they're going to be able to score, then I think they're going to be fine. They got to figure out something with the turnovers. That's a problem.
Oh, that's absolutely
because on this defense, if you give the other offense extra possessions and you have a not good old defense, that's not going to work out real well.
Agreed.
It's just not.
Let me roll through some of the schedule right quick. To open the season, they've got at the Rams, the Falcons, at the Seahawks, Browns, Giants, the Cardinals, at Washington, at Philly, Pittsburgh, at the Vikings, Washington, at Baltimore, at Cincy, the 49ers, Philly, and the Giants. There's not a game on there that I don't think that they can find a way to win. That's why I've got them at 11-5. Now, obviously they're not going to go 16-0. That's just not how it is. And I'm not a Cowboys fan in the slightest. For those that watch the show, you all know that I am a Steelers fan, but I do think that this Cowboys team can be pretty good. But you've got them at 9-7, huh?
Yeah, officially I got them at 9-7. They're probably a double-digit win team, but they're going to be fun to watch.
Oh, yes.
And offensively, they're going to be good. But this is the NFL, man. You got to be good on both sides of the ball or you get sent home.
Matt on YouTube said, at least Jerry Jones's redheaded stepchild is gone now. And Damian said, I can see the Cowboys going 8-8. Look,
that wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me either. I think they're better than that.
But here's the thing. Could they lead the league in scoring and go 8-8? Hang on. What was the Cardinals' record last year? And that's kind of how they played football, right?
Went 5-11. Yeah.
They went 5-11. They scored a lot, and they didn't stop anybody.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
I mean, he literally took his Texas Tech ways to Arizona.
Yeah.
It just does. It's fun to watch until you can find a way to play defense with that kind of offense. Nobody's been able to do it. Okay.
Yes, you're right. You are right. All right, we will move on from there. Let's dive into the New York Football Giants. Coach Joe Judge heading into his first season, and nobody even knew who he was until he was hired for this job. Went 4-12 last year, and obviously Coach Pat was let go, and their win total right now sits at 6.5, which seemed like a lot to me. Over is plus 145 to go under minus 165, so obviously they think going under is the more likely play to win the division, plus 1450. So probably not happening this year. Joseph Gomez jumps in and said, Joe slip and slide Judge. Yeah. Let's go through some of the stats from last year because they return a lot. They bring a lot back. Offensive yards per play, 5.4. That was number 20 in the NFL. Defensive yards per play, 5.7. That was number 19 in the NFL. And then turnover margin. And who do I have some stats about that turnover margin? Number 31 in the league. They gave up the ball 1.1 times per game. That is not a good thing. The question right now is, can you get a big sophomore year out of Daniel Jones? And can Saquon come back and be explosive after, multiple injuries last year? I mean, he could not get right, and he still had 1,400 yards from scrimmage because he was really the only thing that they had. And that's what kind of scares me is they were running the kid even though he was injured because he was literally the football team. I mean, I'm not saying they gave up a lot for him, but they gave up the number 2 draft pick. I mean, that's insane. Joseph jumped in on YouTube, said plus 1450 is still too low. It should be in the 2000s. DFS Bachelor jumps in. How many push-ups is Joe Judge making his grandpa do today? Here's my notes on this. Only Carolina and Miami gave up more points in 2019 than they did. They added linebacker Blake Martinez from the Packers. Safety Xavier McKinney, their second-round draft pick, who they were kind of counting on to come in and start immediately, broke his foot in fall camp. He is out for at least a couple of months. He might come back at the back end of the schedule. By that, it could all be I can't talk. It could all be moot at that point. Daniel Jones. Can he stop turning the football over? He fumbled the ball 18 times last year. That is one time for every 45 snaps that they took. That is an astronomical number. That doesn't even include the interceptions. That is just ridiculous. He could not hold on to the football. And my other biggest question, do we trust this coaching staff? And I don't know that we can right now. We don't know anything about him. But I know that he was, a special teams coordinator?
Well, he was the wide receivers coach.
Okay.
If that makes you feel any better.
No.
The Patriots wide receivers were, awesome the last 2-3 years? I mean, they were good, right? They were really. Oh no,
I don't understand. I don't know what Gettleman was doing with this hire.
This dude was getting coaching looks in the college world too. I mean,
in the college world,
is one of those things.
This
is one of those things where networking has got to just be so important.
I guess.
Like he's got to be somebody's nephew or grandson or something.
I've got him 4-12. All
right, so I'm a little friendlier than you. I got him 5-11. I don't think they're going to be good. Listen, you can't take an offense, all right? Your defense blows, okay? So you got to be really good on offense. To get really good on offense, you don't add cheerleading Jason Garrett, all right, and Freddie Soup Kitchens, okay? That is not how you make your offense better.
Yes.
I'm not a football expert, but I know that ain't going to work.
Agreed. I mean, it makes no sense. But you got them 5-11, huh?
Got them 5-11.
I don't think this is a good football team. I just don't think it's a good football team. Let's move on, and we will dive into the Philadelphia Eagles. Went 9-7 last year. Doug Peterson enters his 5th season. He won a Super Bowl in his 2nd season. And that was when he had Frank Reich, and it just everything came together at that point. 9.5 is your win total. To go over, plus 110. You're getting positive money to go back. If you think that they're going to win 10 games, you can get more back than what you gamble. That's not bad. To win the division, plus 150. I mean, that seemed kind of short as well. I thought this would be at least plus 200, if not a little more. If you go and look at the numbers from last year, offensive yards per play, 5.2. They were number 21 in the league. Defensive yards per play, 4.7. They were number 17 in the league. Turnover margin, they were number 22. They gave up the ball 0.2 times per game. Look, Wentz played all 16 regular season games for the first time last year, which is fantastic, until they got into the playoffs and he got knocked out and you had to count on, old man Josh McCown, and he got hurt in the middle of the game and still played. Like, this whole thing is nuts. They draft Jalen Reagor, who is undersized but a burner, and then he got hurt on
he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks before the season starts.
Yeah, before the season even starts. I mean, it gets hurt in camp on, trying to make a tackle on an interception that Jalen Hurts threw, who was their second-round draft pick, which a lot of people said didn't make a whole lot of sense. But, I can get it. I see Jalen Hurts is a good kid. I can understand drafting him. He's good for your locker room. But either way, the defense signed Darius Slay and Nickel Roby-Coleman to upgrade the secondary, so I think that's going to help a little bit. Can Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson stay healthy?
I don't think Alshon's going to start the season.
Oh, is he hurt too? Man alive. All right, so, yeah, DFS Bachelor jumped in. They were down to wide receiver 6, 7, and 8 last year. I mean, yes, it was ridiculous. Miles Sanders is a good running back, but he ain't good enough to just take the whole load. I mean, you got to figure something out. DFS jumps in and said that. Joseph Gomez said, did you see Sanu just got cut? Did the Giants pick Judge since he comes from the same tree of where Adam and Eve picked that apple? Belichick?
The Garden of Eden? Yeah, that's kind of what Patriots have been like.
I guess so.
Just a perfect world.
I don't like what the Eagles have done here. And
no, hell no.
And I still think that they find a way to win 9 games. I got them 9-7, but
so I got them 6-10. I don't think this is a good football team.
6-10 seems closer to right than what
I don't think they're a good football team. I don't want to give them more wins just because of their name. Okay. I thought about, oh no, this has got to be more of an 8-8, 9-10 team.
Well, and they lose Malcolm Jenkins.
Why? Because they're the Eagles? Why? Because Carson Wentz has proven that he's so good? No. He had half a season where he was amazing. We've never seen anything like it.
I still like Fletcher Cox.
And the offensive coordinator from then is gone. And Fletcher Cox is like 34 years old.
I know he is. I know. And they lost Malcolm Jenkins.
He can't be Fletcher Cox. And at some point in time, it's got to be somebody else to help.
Yeah.
Because he's a tackle. He's a nose tackle. He plays in the middle. All right.
Yeah.
It's easy to run left away from him and right away from him.
I think if I had even thought about the Malcolm Jenkins leaving them, I think I might would have done much worse than this. I've got 9-7.
I trust Howie, the GM of this team. He's usually a really smart guy. He builds teams really smart, really well. I don't see it. I just don't see it. But I also do not believe in Carson Wentz. Not one iota, not one bit. The Browns traded away that pick, and I was very grateful for that. Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't think they were worthy. Either of these quarterbacks were worthy of taking 1 or 2. And so I thought I'd rather not take a quarterback than take one of these guys. And everybody yelled and screamed and said, oh, eventually you got to take the guy. You can't just keep waiting. You can't, you bullshit. You can't, because they're going to need another quarterback in the next year or 2.
Yeah, you're right.
This is not a good football team this year.
No, I don't think so.
Now they might go out and sign Antonio Brown. And they might go out and sign. If I was them, I would go sign Brown. I would go sign Devontae Freeman. I would all these expatriate players that are sitting out there in the ether that hadn't been picked up yet. If I was the Eagles, I find a way to bring them in my locker room if they are an offensive skill player. I don't think the line is that bad.
No, I don't think the line's bad at all.
Don't believe it, but I also don't believe in Wentz either. I think last year I watched games where McCown played because Wentz was hurt, and McCown looked better than him. That Atlanta Falcons game where they went to Atlanta, both those teams looked like trash the entire game. And Wentz got hurt and went out for a couple of series, and McCown came in and moved them all the way down. And as soon as McCown got him into like the 5-yard line, Wentz magically got better and came back in the game. And I thought, y'all are idiots. It is where Doug Peterson's an idiot. Because I'd say, no, sir, we have moved the football for the first time all day with your dead ass on the bench. We're going to see if this old bastard can get it in.
Yeah. And he played fine in the playoff game. I mean, he wasn't awful.
Yeah, no, he was better than Wentz last year. Are we going to look at numbers? Are we going to look at film? Or are we just going to say, look at the back of the jersey?
I mean, at this point, they're looking at who has the bigger paycheck, I think.
But that's ridiculous.
I agree.
Do you want to win or do you not?
I agree.
Because the guys, at one point in time, they said, we don't care about paychecks. We don't care about the name on the back of the jersey. And we're going to win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
DFS said that secondary was awful last year. They should be way better this year. Yeah, I think so. You bring in Roby Coleman.
The secondary is going to be the guys that they brought in free agency are going to be good.
I mean, Slay is a beast, man. He's awesome.
I don't think they drafted well this year, and I just don't. Offensively, there's nobody that scares me. No. Miles Sanders is good, but if I stack the box, I think I can beat the hell out of him.
Joseph Gomez jumped in and said the East is so weak. Washington and the Giants are walkovers. Can you really trust the Cowboys? Damian said the Eagles are going 5-11, Giants going 4-12. DFS said that front seven is mean. You lose
they
Jenkins.
Were 2 years ago. Yeah, they were 3 years ago. Last year they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't that.
Look,
mean.
I boosted that front seven so hard the last couple of years, and last year they just weren't anything scary at all.
Yeah, it was. I'm kind of out on this watch.
I don't know. We're gonna get to Washington right now.
Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do Washington right this second.
I disagree very much on that.
Ron Rivera, in his first season here, he gets fired from Carolina last year, and I think for the first time in a long time, Washington has, as Chris would say, an adult in the room. They went 3-13 last year. Win total is 5.5. To go over is plus 120. To go under is minus 140. To win the division, they are plus 1,700. Going back and looking at the stats from last year, number 27 in offensive yards per play, 21 in defensive yards per play, number 14 in turnover. That wasn't that bad. This is the Chase Young show on defense now. I mean, he's going to step in immediately. You just got to see, okay, is he going to get hurt like everybody else on the defense? Because, good gracious. They've got Jack Del Rio on defense. I trust him. And I think, that they made really good coaching hires. I like what they did.
I love the way this team is being built.
Oh, yeah. They added
They are a couple years away.
Yeah.
But I love the way this team is being built.
Added a ton of vets in the secondary. They the offense cut Peterson and Geis, and Cody Latimer is gone, so they don't have a ton of real weapons. I mean, they got Terry, what's the guy's name?
McClure?
McClellan, whatever his name. The wide receiver, who was pretty good, who seems to have a pretty good
second-year guy, rookie last year.
Pretty good chemistry with Dwayne Haskins. I mean, they're both Ohio State guys. That kind of makes sense. This is a foundation-building season, which DFS, by the way, came in and said number 3 in the league in rushing defense last year. Yeah, but that's because they could throw on them.
And that's about to get real. That's about to get even better. Maybe not better than 3, but their numbers overall will be better.
He said, time for Chris to pay for his second lap dance, or hell, even the classic 4-for-2 deal. I got the Eagles with at least 8 wins. You taking it?
That ain't happening. I'll take that. I ain't worried about that at all.
Okay. And they do have 3 winnable games to start the season against Washington, the Rams, and the Bengals. But
go ahead, keep chalking Washington up as just an easy W.
Well, here's the deal. This is a foundation building season to me. I think it is year 0. They're just trying to get front office guys out of there. They're trying to get all kind of people. They're trying to clean up, right? And I like who they brought in as the new team president. Right? I think he's awesome. However, I think it's going to be tough because I think there's still some chemistry to be built. There's still guys that they got to get out of this locker room to make the team better. This is foundation building season number 1. I've got them 5-11. It wouldn't surprise me to see them be a little bit better than that because I think that they're going to focus on fundamentals this season. I
got them 6-10. Okay. I got them 6-10. It's not great, but it's way better than the seller. All right. And I think they could. That's probably where I think they're going to end up being 6-10. Ron Rivera is a legit coach, okay? Blackjack Del Rio, you got 2 of the biggest gamblers I've ever seen in my life from the head coaching perspective, All right. Riverboat Ron and Blackjack Rio. Listen, these guys got balls. All right. They got big haunches, and they are not afraid to pull them out and show them to you in the game. If they think they can win by just taking a chance, they're going to gamble. So they might lose big, but they're also going to have an edge to where if they get a couple of things go right, they're going to beat your ass, and you're not going to be expecting it. You're going to want to know what happened. Okay. They are going to be so much better. I do not believe in Dwayne Haskins. I do not. I think that was a mistake for a draft pick last year. And I wish that they had a better option at quarterback. If they had a better option at quarterback, I'd get this team to 8 wins. I really believe that.
Joseph Gomez said, I need to see Haskins for a full year to be a believer. And DFS jumps in. Kyle said that Haskins might throw 25 picks this year.
Yeah, that doesn't
It's entirely possible.
He could get close to Jameis's number. I am not a believer in Dwayne, but the one thing I do wonder is, will they go out and get a quarterback in the middle of the season, one of these veteran guys, and if Dwayne's not cutting it, will they pull the hook on him and say, hey, we need to go forward with somebody else? Because I don't think this team is as bad as you think they are. This team has been drafting at the bottom of the draft for a while, and they've drafted not terribly. Okay. Yeah. I think they've got a lot of weapons on defense. And
on offense, man, hey, look. Antonio Gandy-Golden from Liberty and Antonio Gibson.
A boy from Memphis. Yeah. Now listen, Memphis is due a good one. All right.
Yes.
Memphis has had a lot of guys get drafted for a school like Memphis lately, and not a damn one of them has panned out.
I think Anthony Miller's been all right. But I mean, when your quarterback is Trubisky, what can you expect?
I know it might not be. Hang on, no. At some point in time, we got to stop blaming the quarterback, okay? Because Hopkins never had a good quarterback his life until he found Watson, and he was one of the best receivers in the world. Allen Robinson played with Trubisky and was really good last year. Also played with Blake Bortles before that, was really good. So at some point in time, we got to stop blaming the damn quarterback. Receivers are good. I want Anthony Miller to be good. He hadn't been yet.
No, not yet. Hey,
he got drafted. Bust.
Let me dive in here right quick on this comment. Damian jumps in and said Washington can go 9-7 or even 11-5 if Haskins stays healthy because that O-line is still questionable, especially at tight end. You think they could go 9-7 or 11-5?
I don't know. No, I don't think that, and I don't think there's any way on earth Haskins is that good. I'd love to be proven wrong about that, but I just don't think Haskins is that good.
Joseph said no one's letting their vets go with COVID still around, but Paxton Lynch is still in the league, so who really knows? Yeah, I mean he's in that locker room over in Pittsburgh. And that's the way it goes.
Paxton's 7 foot tall dead ass.
Yeah, DFS jumps in. 0 chance that they go 9-7 or 11-5. This team ain't built yet. It's just not there.
No, I know that. I don't think they're going to be in the cellar.
I don't think so either.
I think they're going to be picking in the teens and in the mid-teens next year.
Yep.
And I think there's a really good chance they finish second in this division. I wish I could get odds on them finishing second in the division. Yeah. You can't find that. You can only find the winner for everything. There's no snowball's chance in hell of them winning it. If I'm right about the Eagles, if I'm right about the Giants, I'm right about Washington, they're finishing number 2.
DFS said I'll reverse my vasectomy if that happens. Like if they go 9-7.
If they win 11 games, yeah, that's a pretty big.
Yeah.
Any way on earth that's happening.
No, I think there's no chance. I think there is no chance. All right. We made it through an hour. We got 8 more teams done. We're going to knock out some more again next week before the season begins. I think, let's see. Damien said, what the hell? Why are y'all still bringing up Trubisky? Like, hey, man, he's on your team. What do you want me to do?
Because he is still considered possibly your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
It's
until ridiculous.
Somebody comes out and waves the white flag, I'm going to think there's a really good chance he might start the season.
It's entirely possible. It is entirely possible. All right, everybody, if you would, do us a favor, go over to the Sportsbook Review YouTube page. Make sure that you are subscribed. We will be going live over there tomorrow at 10 a.m. discussing the day's college football games. We got some FBS, FCS games. We got some fun ones that evening. And look, we even got a little, I guess we'll call it Pac-12 After Dark, but we're going to call it Conference USA After Dark with UTEP playing at like 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. So we got some games tomorrow. We're going to discuss them. We're going to get ready to rock and roll. And make sure that you are subscribed to that channel. Go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. And make sure you are subscribed to our podcast. And you go over to winningcureseverything.com. we are going to knock out all of our NFL picks, all of our NFL talk and whatnot over here. We're still going to talk NBA, all that kind of stuff. Man, it's going to be a good season. I am ready for football. Damian said, hey, Gary, at least Trubisky doesn't do hit and runs with his motorcycle like Big Ben. How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, no. There's no doubt Mitchell Trubisky is a way better person than Big Ben.
I mean,
like a million times better person than Big Ben has ever been. Ever.
That's fine. That's fine.
Ever.
Look, I'm not a massive Big Ben fan. I don't care. He just plays for the team I like.
He shouldn't be. He's terrible.
Either way.
We got a little bit of breaking news, so college football related.
What do we have?
TCU SMU 2 weeks from now.
No.
Postponed already.
That's next Friday.
Well, all right, not anymore.
It's postponed?
It's been postponed. The Horned Frogs have a spike in COVID. So this is the first domino to fall, and all those who don't want football are going to be claiming this a victory.
Well, let them claim it because I watched football last night between.
That's right, and I'm going to watch it tomorrow, damn it.
You got that right. We are having college football, damn it. Let's do this. All right, like I said, SBR's YouTube page, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF, winningcureseverything.com. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Leave a nice 5-star review. Help us out. All you guys that jumped in the chat, DFS, Damian, Joseph, Matt Miller, I mean, all these guys, right? Ben, etc. Thank you guys so much for jumping in and being part of the show. We appreciate you very, very much. Make sure you check out the SBR NFL page, sbrpicks.com/NFL. Kyle is over on their YouTube channel doing the NFL stuff with our buddy Donnie. They are fantastic. They are going through their previews as well. If you want to hear what they have to say, they might be smarter than we are. I mean, it's possible.
No.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Nah.
I'm just saying. Either way, go check out all the stuff that SBR has got for you. You can find it all, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. It'll take you to everything else, too. So knock that out. You guys have been great. We are going to go ahead and cut this thing off. We hope that you all have wonderful weekends. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.